Welcome back, it's Smashboss here. Today we are going to take a look at two of my one-screen puzzles. The first one will be one-screen puzzle number 4, and the second one will be my absolutely hardest puzzle I've created so far, my one-screen puzzle number 10. But let's start with the easier one, number 4. So basically this is the first video since last week, because, well, not since last week, but since a few days, and this is because, obviously, because of the Switch hype. I really love the new console, and since it arrived yesterday, well, I immediately started playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I can only say I love this game, but I decided not to make a let's play of it because, well, this game is so big I wouldn't even know where to start and all the stuff, and I will also not go for the 100%, so basically that's all about my channel. So let's start with the puzzle. The first thing was this P-switch up in the corner. You can't normally get it because it's too high, but if you have really much if you have very much speed, if you run, then you can jump a little bit higher, and this lets you grab the P-switch. So next thing we want to do is just simply activate this power block. So the P-switch is now in the right location, but it's not the right time to place it there because we have to get the 2 trampolines down first. So let's do it again. Throw the power block. Now we could activate the P-switch, but we can just grab one spring and then the other one. So now we need to place the P-switch in this hole, throw one spring in here, then we need to go up here and activate this note block with a flame in it, and finally we need to throw this spring so that it's in the middle of this gap. Now here comes a little bit tricky to figure out the next part. So here comes the trick. It's a bomb in this question mark block, and you need to release it, and when you're standing behind it you need to throw the spring through the bomb so it will land in this gap. And now the bomb will use all the items we've placed, so if the P-switch wouldn't be in that hole, the bomb would fall in the gap where the P-switch is now, and if we hadn't activated the flame, then the bomb wouldn't explode now. So the next step we've got to do is release the big Koopa in this block, and then kick its shell. It will hit the P-switch and activate it. Now here we've got a spiny helmet, we can put it on. And the last step is also a bit tricky to figure out, but, well, you've got this P-switch and there's not really any use for it, so what could you do? You could throw it down there, and if you throw it with the right timing, it will block the shell, so the shell bounces on the second spring and breaks this blocks. So that's what you need to do now. Now you simply need to keep your spiny helmet to get through this saw blade there. And, well, the puzzle itself is over, but I wanted to have a use for the P-switch So you can, if you want to, you can activate it and go through the P-switch door. This will give you another 2 1-ups. But the puzzle is over from the point you get to the exit, obviously. So, and now we are finally going to my hardest puzzle. One screen puzzle number 10. At the very beginning of this puzzle, a P-switch gets activated automatically. This is to push the trampoline in the right corner. So as you can see, there is a trampoline, and actually its spawning location was inside the coin, so at the same spot where the coin was. And when the coin turns into a block, then the spring gets pushed out here. So this is a very tricky setup. The problem is, we could use the P-switch to push the spring out where we need it, but since there are munchers, the P-switch will get activated automatically. We can't do anything about that, and we need the P-switch for different use later. So, but we also need the P-switch right away. So as you can see, falling on this note block, or well, activating it, releases a spiny helmet, a Buzzy Beetle helmet. So the problem is, now if you jump up, you can just wear it as a helmet, but you need to carry it as a shell. So you need to throw this P-switch inside again to get it a second bounce on the note block. So this second bounce allows you to go in here and jump up and grab this as a shellmet. So, well, you shouldn't put it on in this state. So that's basically the opening puzzle to all of this. The thing is, you can't bounce on this note block yourself a second time, because once you bounce, you will automatically land up there where there's no way back down. But the P-switch can, well, you can throw the P-switch in this gap. It's a little bit tricky to do this jump, because obviously if you duck like I did with the P-switch, then you will put the shellmet on. One method is to put the shellmet down here and then jump after it and stop. Well, Mario is ducking his full jump, but you need to stop pressing down as soon as you leave the bottom. So like that, because if you still hold down while Mario grabs the shell, he will put it on immediately. And here is the first very complicated trick I figured out to get this power block, because obviously we need it to, in our hands, we not just need to activate it. So the first complicated trick, for which you need P-switch and shellmet both in your hands, is throw the P-switch on top of the shellmet under the power block. This mini bounce of the power block allows you to grab it from this state. Now you can put it there to get this coin. Well, there's actually multiple ways to get this coin, but this is the easiest one, I think. So the next step you have to do is use the power block to get to the spring and then get a power block back. So now we've got all 4 items. We can place the power block here because we don't need it yet. Next thing we want to do is we want to place the spring here because we also don't need it. So now, and the P-switch is also an item we don't need now. Next we need the Shelmet again. We need to throw it up at this spot, so it will collect the coin on the top left. Then we need the power block to once again get both items back. But first we can place the spring in a specific location where we need it later. I think that's not really the right location, so it needs to be relatively exactly in this spot right there. So you can use the P-switch to get it back if you think the position is not correct. So well, I think it's still not the best positioning. But what you can also do is you can throw it from here. Then I think it will, if you throw it exactly when you reach this block here, this height. So if you would stand left from the spring now, one block left from the spring, this is where you need to throw it and it will land perfectly in this spot. So next thing you need to do is get the Shelmet back, and therefore you need the power block, or I think you could also use the P-switch, doesn't matter. So immediately after you drop the power, you need to release run again. You need to release down again, because otherwise you will again put it on as a helmet and you don't want that yet. Now you need to place the power block on top of the spring to get it in position up there. Then you need to get the spring back, and now you basically get all items you need. So the next tricky part is, well, that was not smart to grab the shell like that, but like this. The next tricky part is you want to get both items, the shell and the spring, up in this area, and a P-switch needs to be activated after you've collected this coin, but before you want to cross this bridge of 4 coins, and therefore the munchers down in the right corner are helpful. So if you stay right here and throw the P-switch, it will fall down on the conveyor belt and slowly go towards the munchers. And in this time you need to collect this coin. Now you need to place the Shelmet up there and get the spring also up there. Now you can kick the Shelmet and wait until the block is not turning anymore to run across with a spring. Now you can place the spring here, and you can get this coin by kicking the Shelmet up, and you can get this final coin. And the way the level is built, in this position the shell will come back to you. And now here's the final trick, and that's also not easy if you don't know it. You can cancel your upwards momentum if you change direction with an item in your hands. So normally if I would jump too high and get trapped. But if I jump and turn around in this spot, then I can get exactly here in this location where I want to be. So the final thing is you have to put this on and stand here. There's a one-way gate, so you can't just simply walk through there, you need the key. And in the beginning a P-switch automatically get activated, and as you go through the door it will get activated again, so you don't need to worry about these blocks. They will automatically turn into coins. It's just there as something like a last thing you could possibly worry about. And this is my absolutely hardest one-screen puzzle I've ever created, because it involves so many steps and so many complicated tricks. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video.